welcome back to Studioloo. It's Cindy. So I wasn't exactly sure if I should make a video about what I'm doing right now or not, because it's kind of like middle of the process. I'm just working on the Land of Sugar and Sweets journal. And I, for some reason, whenever I'm working on like just getting some of the pages ready in the signature, like I think, is this going to be too boring for people to want to watch? So I don't bother to turn on the camera. But then I also came to the realization that like a lot of videos that I watch in the journaling community are literally like tiny little tasks, things that, you know, not a whole lot of progress is being made. And so I'm not sure why I'm like trying to make it so that every video I do, there's some kind of like additional progress being made. I probably don't even need to be like doing that. So I just thought, what the heck, I'll just turn on the camera if I'm working, why not? And just record a video because it is good. So what have I gotten done that I can show you? So last night, I just kind of took a little time. I had a very busy day, which I will get into, but I took a little time to just get the cover ready for this journal, and I'm really happy with it. So I ended up using a book page as well as the title page, like the bookplate page of the Land of Sugar and Spice, to make the cover. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. Super cute, and I just did a lot of distressing, and like I think it's going to be very cute. I'm going to embed these ribbons, these not ribbons, they are, what are they called, seam binding sorry, seam binding underneath the end papers so that they will be able to be tied closed. So what I'm working on now is just kind of the preparatory like work that I do on the pages before I bind them into the journal. So what this involves really is just I go through all of my signatures. This journal will have 9, and I just kind of look at any pages that need work. Like I need to cover up text with writing space like paper, or I need to you know, just kind of like add pockets or like, I don't do all the pockets before I've tied it in, but sometimes I do add them when I want to do like a double pocket spread across 2 pages before it's tied in. And then after I get all the papers ready, I will go through and see if I want to do anything like maybe stamping, stenciling, or sewing on lace or ribbon to or fabric or anything like that, things that you want to do beforehand. So that's what I'm working on, so you can hang out with me and do that. I have a couple other sort of things that are lined up in the plan for some videos, for some fun things. I actually have another thrift haul to share, an unexpected one, because something very strange happened. So well, not strange, but just kind of something that was a little bit of a pain in the neck, actually. So I think I mentioned that the end of last week, a work thing that I had to do took me out of town. It was like kind of a beneficial thing. Like, I will admit I'm living in an area that's in like a lockdown zone. So, you know, the request of us is to basically, you know, try not to travel between regions where I live, you know, because I guess the concept is that not everybody is as careful as others. And if we have people traveling to different communities, you can then raise the numbers and introduce the spread to other communities. So they ask you to try to stick around, you know, your community and follow the guidelines in your community. And on the most part, we are doing that. But like I said, I had a work thing to do that it was a no contact thing. I just had to drive something to another town to drop it off, but then I would have to wait a day or two and have to pick it back up again. So the deal that my that my boss made with me was, hey, if you do this, you can you know, stay at this hotel. And I thought, okay, well, you know, I need to review, and I did review the safety protocols and everything at the hotel that we stayed at, which was, you know, like a very high-end hotel, thankfully, and it was actually very safe. So made the decision that we would do that. We would order our food in, we would limit our, you know, exposures in that way. The only exception is that there was a thrift store near where I had to go while I was waiting, and I decided, you know, I will go in wearing 2 masks as we're being asked to do right now, and I will stay away from everyone. You know, I don't do a whole lot in my personal life right now. Like, I don't see anyone go anywhere. Like, I'm really not seeing anybody. So I thought, why not? So I went into a very empty thrift store right after it opened. And I had found, actually, they're sort of like, they're a charity, and they buy products to sell to kind of raise money for the charity. Like, they're not secondhand things. These are new things in box. So one of the things that I've been searching for is one of those like adjustable pairs of ice skates for my daughter. So of course they had them there, and I picked them up and I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I got like all rung through and ready to go, and I had gotten a few other items that I actually shared in my last thrift haul video, and I'm out the door, and then, you know, went back to the hotel, and I hadn't brought my purchases from the car into the hotel. I just left them there, the skates included. And then, you know, we the next day packed up the car with all of our stuff from having stayed away, and away we went home, and it's about 2 hours away from home. And so then next day rolls around, and I said, hey, where are those ice skates that I bought? And my husband said, well, I brought everything in from the car, but let me go check. So he went out to the car, and surely enough, they weren't there. And I'm like, no. So I had to phone the thrift store and explain to them what had happened, because I remembered how, like, the cashier was ringing things through, because they have like all of this plexiglass up on the counter. They don't have a lot of room to pack things. So she had been, you know, trying to be helpful and was putting this stuff down kind of like behind the counter on a chair and on the floor to try to like keep it all back there while she was packing things. Because I also found like a really cool like teal colored Pyrex dish, and I found a Kathleen Home bowl, like 2 really amazing finds thrifting. I couldn't believe it. I haven't found anything good like that in like the pottery houseware kind of section in a while. So that was a nice find. And so I think I was just, you know, too excited about that. And then she got chatting with me about something else. And then I think we just both got, you know, kind of like off track. And needless to say, it got left behind. So they recognized that, and they had kept it there with a note like, you know, look out for this girl. And so they said, you know, we'll hang on to it. You know, you can come pick it up. So I'm like, okay. So we had to do that yesterday, that long drive back, and it's kind of a pain in the neck, but it's also kind of like, well, it's nice to go for a drive. At least that gets us to go somewhere. And we got to stop at like a waterfront area and walk around a little bit, although it was quite mucky and wet. I'm happy we're finally almost through February. To be honest, I'm really kind of feeling done with February, as I always am every February. It's like my most despised kind of month of the year. So, then I went in to pick up that stuff, and it was so quiet. So I thought, well, I'll have another little gander. Why not, right? This is all I'm going to get here for a while. So I did. I looked around, and I found a lot of really nice vintage books, actually. So I got those. I also was able to get like some really great used kids clothes, and that's something that I've really been missing, because if you have kids, as you know, like their clothes fit them for about 5 minutes. And I'm a big you know, buy used kind of person. Not just because it's thrifty and like it's, you know, you're not spending absorbent, you know, huge amounts of money on kids clothing that fits for no time, but also it's more environmental. I don't want to contribute to any more fast fashion than I have to. There's certain things I do buy new, obviously undergarments, usually shoes, unless I know the person, you know, who's giving them to me as a hand-me-down, because you just have to be a little careful with things like that, obviously. So I got some cool stuff for the kiddos, and then we were basically on our way. We just headed right back home, and here we are again. So that was my adventure. But I also did find some nice lace and stuff for journals. I always kind of find a little something, but I wanted to kind of get in and out as quickly as possible, because I will be completely honest that I do feel quite paranoid about shopping and going anywhere. That's why I shop at a very small little local grocery store that definitely costs me more money to do, but because I can't afford to, I do, so that it's lower risk. And I still treat everybody like they're diseased and I need to stay away from them. But yeah, I'm treating myself, all of us, as though we're diseased right now, because I just don't want to catch this and I don't want to give it to anyone. So, but thankfully, I think our footprint as a family is actually extremely low, I would say, in terms of like our risk of catching this. Just because we've had a long time to kind of develop and plan for how we would live. And, you know, we early on developed what our plan for outdoor recreation would be. We chose a local graveyard, actually a couple of them. One of them we can even go tobogganing at because it has a hill, and it offers nature, it offers, you know, quiet, and it's good. So, but yeah, that has been my week. Other than that, work has been, it's been okay. It hasn't been too bad. So I'm thankful for that. Thinking about just putting like a spread pocket, not a pocket, but like a tuck that goes right across here. So like a belly band type thing. Yeah. Am I lined up? Yep, I am. Pretty good. Yep. Yeah, but there's one particular thrift store that we have around here that I really like. Well, I mean, there's a few. There's one that has, for some reason, they get a lot of really old and really beautiful books. And sometimes they price them a little higher. Like the one that I went to yesterday, it's funny. They actually they print out what the price of the book on Amazon.com in the US is, and they like tuck it inside the book. So like it'll be selling for like $15.99 and they're charging you $5, and they like, I don't know really what the point is. It seems like kind of unnecessary work to me to have the staff do that, but sure. Value is a funny concept, honestly, like the value of things, especially older things. Like I used to be, I mean, I still am quite interested and therefore, like, you know, by necessity, pretty educated in antiques, like, you know, things that are over 100 years old, antiquities, like, you know, as well as vintage, because I am a vintage toy collector and I do collect vintage clothing, some vintage. I don't collect it, I should say. I purchase it because I like vintage dresses and I wear a lot of them, and I love vintage children's clothing. So and I used to have my own antique booth in an antique mall here. And so by necessity, for, you know, buying and selling things, you have to know what you're doing. And I've always just been a real kind of like pop culture sort of history buff. So, but finding like a lot of things in thrift stores, I think you get a certain personality type that works there that I used to always say when I worked in big retail, don't personalize these things because they're not this isn't your money. So, you know, if I used to work for a large retailer who, you know, they had a returns desk, and sometimes some of my staff would be really like indignant about having to do a return. They would feel like this person has used this, or this has happened, or that has happened. And, you know, some really valuable guidance that I learned that I was able to pass on is just like, don't worry about it, because you know what, one bad review, 30 people will hear about it. A good review, no one will hear about it, probably maybe 2 to 3 people, about the experience. So, you know, you have to consider that. Like, it doesn't mean just take back anything and do anything. The customer is always right is a very flawed term, I think, definitely. But I do believe in, like, pick your battles. Yeah. Sorry guys, I'm just reaching behind me here. I'm looking for what I want to do with this page. Having all these kind of weird ideas, like creating like things that cross onto 2 pages. But if I did that, that could be like a side now. It would cover up the gingerbread man's head. But I want to do a fabric pocket here like that. I like this fabric. I think it would be really cute. Yeah, I think I will do that. So let me just, where is my, I need a little pen or a pencil. So yeah, retail taught me about like not, you know, losing your mind about things. But I find like a lot of thrift stores, and there's one near my house that has, I mean, I shouldn't be so mean, but there's a guy that works there, and I just honestly, I just don't like him. Like, it's not often that I just say like, I don't like this person, but there's this weird, like, I would say anti-quality that he has, where like, I think he's into certain kinds of like fandom, relating to like things like comic books and what have you. And he's kind of like, I think, one of these people who likes to assign too much worth to things, that because he's interested in them. So he would think about, if he were selling this, what would he want to sell it for, or what does he think it should be purchased for. But you know, it's honestly the directive of the store is actually an environmental one. And so I get a little frustrated because I see things in there that, you know, it just makes no sense, the price that they assign to them. And, you know, I'm not one of these people who says like, oh, it's all donations, you know, you shouldn't be, you know, selling it for so much. Because I mean, that's how charities exist. And that's how, I mean, although it's a really flawed system out there now with all this for-profit donation collecting business that we have in North America, there's a lot of bad practices out there. But in this case, I just find it a little annoying. Like, they have rules in place about you know, what things cost, and some things are based on weight. But then ever since he started working there, it's this weird situation where like they now have a sign, but he was doing this even before the sign, where like the staff are allowed to, you know, look at something and decide like, oh, this has more value than what the value assigned to it if it's just being valued on weight would be. Like, let's say, you know, you found like, you know, there is like, what's an example? What am I trying to say? Like, you know, if you were looking through like the glassware, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, you found a piece of like Chihuly glass or something, and they recognized what that was, then they could say, hey, like this thing has higher value. And I get it, sort of. But at the same time, I sort of feel like that's the whole point of why people have always thrift shopped. It's a treasure hunt. That's the whole point. And I think if at the time that you did the intake on that item, you didn't recognize that it was special, and then put it into an auction or evaluated at a higher price in a cabinet or something, then I'm sorry. I feel like that should be free for the picking. because I've seen so many people shop there and be like, find that situation and then be really upset. And I mean, it's just, they have so many bad reviews online about this guy. He, like, the community that shops there, they can't stand him. And a lot of the commentary is about that, his unfair pricing ideas. So what I do when I'm there is I literally avoid him. If he's on cash, I don't shop there. Not because I find things, but what annoys me is I find things that are like not of any kind of special value in any way. And the way he like looks at all of my items, it's like he's trying to find things that he can say, well, you know, this blah, blah, blah. And it's like sometimes you just have to recognize when there are personality types or things about people that you personally just don't like or can't deal with. So then you've got to find the best possible way to like coexist with them. And for me, it's avoiding those things. So because of his role in the store, I avoid him completely, because I'm not going to avoid like a weird pricing scandal with him, so I just ignore him completely. Yeah, but I don't know, there's a lot of things like that just in the nonprofit world or the for-profit donation accepting world really get on my nerves. You know, I love thrifting because I like it because it's a fun treasure hunt. It's also like a way to look at history and like see a lot of cool stuff. And, you know, I like finding like, I mean, I'm not like out there looking for items of value to resell. That's just not what I do. Especially like those people who sell online and they're in there like scanning all the books, seeing like which textbooks have value. And then like, you know, for resale purposes, that's not me at all. I don't have any of that interest. This page, I will probably cover some bit of it, but I think I'll do that after I bind it. So that signature, I think, is good. But yeah, adventures in thrift shopping. That one. Okay, so what I recognize with this page is I've had to cut off some of these recipes. So I'm trying to decide if I want to create some journaling space or not. I like this little flip out because I like this little gingerbread man. So the pfeffernusse is cut off at the bottom. We've got the whole gingerbread men recipe. Joe Froggers. We've got that whole recipe. So I could choose to do either like maybe a pocket on this page or something. That might be good. Which I'll do after I bind. Tiny donut cookies. Those sound good. So yeah, I think I'll leave that page alone, which is nice. I don't have to cover anything on it. This one I do. And it is the center of the signature, so we got to cover up this side. Keep looking at my scrap bin, like what can I use in my scraps to cover you up? I think I really need to take some time to make like some master boards from some of my scraps because they are just out of control. You know, I never got them under control. That's the problem. Like, they were never under control to begin with. I wonder if that might be kind of cool. It's like candy colors. We could do like another, either an upper pocket or a belly band. I think I might do that actually. Yeah. trim here. Okay, and then how wide do we want this to be? So that is where the writing starts to probably about here, let's say. Right there. So I'm behind on my, I've got to do some work on my Anne Brooke week 8 52 tags handmade challenge. It is pistol stitch and bullion stitch and French knots. So I will probably try to work on that a bit today if I can, because I don't want to fall behind. I really enjoy that one. But I've been working on my cross stitch. I'm doing a Halloween Town cross stitch from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, which is an amazing, if you haven't seen Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, look them up, because they have the cutest, most adorable patterns for cross stitch, and a lot of them are really like kawaii and cutesy, and I really like that about them. Okay, so yeah, I think that will be cute. And I won't do it as an upper pocket, I don't think. Or should I? Pocket or like belly band? I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going to do it as a belly band, because then if I want to put a tall tag in there, I can. It's just a little more, a little bit more of an option. Okay. Okay. Then we need to fold. There we go. So I have to say, I've been watching Mouse Potato Designs videos lately, and really enjoying her Fauxbonichi journal style. It's really cool, but also she's just like so fun to listen to. She sounds really cool, and I'm very interested in her her raw vegetable based food, or not raw but whole food, vegetable based whole food diet. I am on a similar, although not vegetable based yet, diet. I did used to be a vegetarian and vegan for quite some time, but then things changed, as life does, and now I'm kind of on like a healthy keto kind of plan, and that is because of, you know, everybody has their own personal health and dietary reasons, and that's mine currently. But I'm so looking forward to like garden seasoning. Oh, garden season. I can't wait. Fresh food again. Yay. Okay, so then I got this page out of like this. It's called like Ghastly Girls and Boys or something. So it's like satirical, I would say aged humor directed at kids, like probably I'd say preteen kind of tween kids. So some of it's not appropriate and some of it is. I was hoping to keep Polly Picklenose and the Sweet Tooth, but parts of it I'm going to cover up because some of it's mean. It's just plain old mean. So let me just go through this quickly, this poem, and see if there's anything terrible. Okay, this is fine. This is good. Nothing offensive. This one I'm just going to cover because it's not related to the theme at all. So all this goes away. And this one, the Sweet Tooth. Okay, so we're going to be getting rid of this because it's mean. This is also mean. I think I'm just going to cover this page. There's really nothing of value here. So yeah, we're just going to keep with the cute, like, pleasant things. Yeah. So now I need to find what I want to cover that up with. Just give me 2 seconds. I'm going to grab some papers. Okay, so they don't all have to be super colorful and stuff, because I can collage around them. I'm basically just making a page that's going to be covering this up. So I think for this one, I'm just going to cover it with regular paper, completely. I sometimes think that, I don't know, like 85% of historical children's writing is just not good for children. It fosters all the wrong kinds of things, and then maybe we wonder why people can be the way they are, although I don't think everybody is influenced the same by literature, but maybe some people are. I definitely think it could contribute a lot to the bullying kind of language that a lot of people use or grew up with, or maybe even like slang that's now not appropriate. I think, you know, like I think that's one of the things that's the hardest for people to adapt to and to change in life, is like, you know, things feel very normal to you because you've never had to see them in any other light, and you grew up with them. They're part of your nostalgia. That's why you get emotional when you're told that you need to change the way that you talk or the terms that you use because it's hurtful to others. And I think that, you know, a lot of that stuff probably could be avoided without like exposing kids, without conversation, to a lot of like inappropriate things. Now I think what I'm going to do maybe is just tear this paper. It's a jelly print. Just tear off all the hard edges here. And then I might just kind of make some cute little torn collage-y type pieces. Around the parts that I don't want. Okay. Oh, it's fun. There we go. I love jelly prints so much. So much. I love them in journals too. I think that they are just amazing. Okay. And then we need to cover this side as well. I'm sort of thinking about how I want to do this. If I want to do maybe like yeah, I do. I'm going to glue that down. I think that will be fun there. And I think that it will offer writing space, and I can also do some collaging with some little sweets and things on that page. And maybe even add like a pocket if I want to later on. And I get to keep that cute little page number there, which I always love to do because I like all the reminders in these journals that, you know, we're making a book. We're often using books to make books. And it's a lot of fun. Okay, so that's that. Polly Pickle Nose. Okay, this is fine. This one, we have a little bit to go. I'm looking at the time here. I'm going to need to get going soon because we are probably getting to be close to an hour or so. I'm going to use this just to kind of mimic that steam that's coming out of these pots of candy and things. There. Just want to clean this little bit of smudgy glue. Get on there. There we go. That's better. Oh, there's a little here too. There. I don't like when the extra glue gets on my pages and the ink sticks to it. I don't want that smudginess on this page. There we go. All right, this page I think is fine. Yes. So that brings us, I think, to right here. Pop that in. And then we just had one more page. Yes, and this one I think is fine. It is. Perfect. Okay, so let's see how many more signatures I have to go here. This one not done. Yeah, I've got a few to go. That's not dead. Yeah, I've got a few to go. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to continue on these signatures, and then we'll work on this journal a little more together. I have all of the ephemera to make. I haven't made any ephemera for it at all. So I'll be back with that and with some other stuff that I'm planning. And yeah, thank you again, and have a lovely day. Hopefully it's warming up a little where you are. I know a lot of places are getting a little bit of warm weather, so I hope that that's you. All of my social media information is down below. Please subscribe, click the little notification bell. I'd love to have you here, and take care. Thanks.